We are now on day 12 of Diddy's trial, and let me tell y'all, it is heating up. I know I said that last time, but definitely this time we're getting some witnesses that are actually, in my opinion, making a little bit of a difference. Now, if you was here last week, you know I'm not quite sure whether I think that the prosecution is really doing a great job improving the actual causes of action, not causes of action, crimes that they're alleging against Diddy. But this week, I feel like we're a couple of steps closer in proving the actual crimes that Diddy is being accused of. Like I said, there are some important witnesses that are going forward this week, including one of his very loyal assistants. And we also have a stylist for Cassie testifying for us, which was the guy on the thumbnail this time. So we are going to jump right into things, but I got to make sure my audio is right because it sounds kind of weird in my ears right now. So let's make sure we're all good. I think we are. I think my hair is just blocking it or whatever. But if you guys are watching live, make sure you are dropping in the comment section your thoughts, or the chat section, your thoughts and how you think this case is going so far and what you would like to see coming out in the testimony or in the prosecution's case or in the defense's case as this trial progresses. Remember, they are trying to take this thing or end this thing right before the 4th of July weekend. So essentially after this week, they'll have about another month to go. And if they don't finish it by then the jury is going to have to be dealing with this stuff after the 4th of July weekend, which honestly, I feel like they're going to deal with it after the 4th of July anyways, because even if they do end, which the defense says, even if the prosecution ends, they're probably still going to go up right into that July 4th weekend. But let's say they do end before the July 4th weekend, they're still going to have to come back to give their verdict. Hopefully they won't rush through the verdict in order to get out to their best barbecue or whatever. But I really feel bad for the people that have probably already scheduled their vacation. Anyways, that's where we are. Prosecution thinks they're going to end early. The defense thinks that their testimony is going to take even longer now because I don't think that the defense was really prepared for all of the witnesses that the prosecution actually brought. Although they had the witness list, maybe they didn't think that these witnesses were going to go as deep in the testimony as they have gone so far. So I am rambling at this point. So let's go ahead and jump into the witnesses from day 10 through 12. If you guys have been keeping up with this case, we're going a little bit backwards to day 10 to talk about the testimony from Capricorn Clark, and we're going to be talking about testimony from the police that investigated the fire with Kid Cudi, also the arson investigator. We're going to get into Deonte Nash's testimony, and then jump into Mia's testimony that pretty much took all day today. Hello to everyone on TikTok. Again, hello to everyone on YouTube, on the BriHive. Make sure you guys are letting me know your thoughts as we go through this. And y'all just know it's a summary. So I'm not going to be getting into the nitty gritty details, but we're going to be talking about what we think and how it's going so far. So let's go ahead and jump into day 10 of the Diddy trial, which was testimony all day from Capricorn Clark. She was an assistant for Diddy, and the defense tried to make it seem like she wanted Diddy and she's just mad because she wasn't one of the girls that Diddy actually went for, because it seems like he kind of goes for any girl around him based on the testimony that they've been presenting. But she was able to pretty deflect that and say, no, our relationship was pretty platonic. So let's get into the summary. Like I said, y'all let me know what y'all think so far. I'm going to talk about why I don't think that the prosecution is getting to the racketeering part of things. While they meet most of the elements, in my opinion, I think they're still missing the major key for a racketeering to go forward. So let's jump into Capricorn Clark. So she stated that her relationship with Cassie started to develop some issues around 2008, saying she got a bit more bravado as being his girlfriend the longer it lasted, and Ventura went from being more of a sweet model to a feisty girl. So a lot of people have been testifying that Cassie is very soft-spoken and she's sweet. And this witness, Capricorn Clark, says, oh, we were cool at first. And then once she got into being Diddy's girlfriend, she started to kind of feel herself like she was better than everybody else. I don't know what that's all about, but that's what she testified to. Let's go on and say. Clark said Ventura's live performances weren't great, though. So not only did she say she was feeling herself a little bit too much, then she went in through shade and said her performances weren't that great. though she thought that Cassie had talent. So she did not perform live well, which I feel like that was very common back then, that there were not a lot of good live performers. And then she went on to say when Clark returned to work for Ventura or Cassie in 2016, she said that Cassie's drug use was preventing her from the opportunities that were before us. Now, I don't know about y'all, but in 2016, I didn't think Cassie was still making music. So I don't know how much the drugs was stopping her from being famous, or if her boat had already sailed by that time. Because I was not thinking of Cassie as an up and coming artist, or an artist that was still going to have her big break. Like after Me and You, it was pretty much over at that point because they didn't keep putting out the albums. They gave her that one album, but it sounds like she was still trying to get her music career off the ground in 2016. Could have fooled me. I had no idea. She goes on to say that Cassie had access to the top tier industry professionals that create stars, including producers, choreographers, and stylists. Clark testified under cross-examination, adding that Cassie had more attention and resources than other artists signed by Bad Boy, especially at the beginning of her career between 2007 and 2012. And for you to say that her career was still trying to get jumping in 2016 as well. But hey, maybe I just wasn't paying attention to her like that. Maybe she was still trying to get popping. I don't know. New artists like Machine Gun Kelly and French Montana were getting a lot of attention at Bad Boy around 2012, but Clark said that Cassie seemed to be getting the same amount of attention. And even when Combs took a step back around 2016 through 17, she believed that Cassie still had the same support. I don't know how. They wasn't working on an album. So that's interesting. They get into the whole stuff about her having to dye her hair because she said that Diddy forced her to dye her hair. And this is what Clark had to say. While working as Cassie's creative director in 2016, Clark helped create a new look for her to show off at the MTV Video Music Awards that year. It required Cassie to dye her hair neon yellow. Clark testified that Cassie liked the idea and confirmed she wasn't forced against her will to dye her hair. Now, we listened to 20 hours. We didn't listen to it, actually. We had to read it all. But the people that were at the trial, they listened to 20 hours of testimony from Cassie of her explaining the type of obedience she was essentially, for lack of a better word, well, not even lack of a better word, that what she described, she was beat into this obedience. And for her to basically say, oh no, in 2017, they started dating, in 2006, 11 years later, she was happy with the choice of the hair dye. Well, like, why do you think that she would say she didn't like it? Do you think that she liked being beat up? I don't like her saying that Cassie liked it didn't make any sense to me, but let's go on. Go off, sis. Okay. Clark goes on. She breaks down into sobs as she looked at emails she sent, that Clark sent to Sean Diddy Combs in 2014 and 2015, asking him to forgive her. Earlier in the day, she testified that while she was officially fired in 2012 over a vacation she took, she believed that Diddy actually fired her because he was upset about her knowledge of Cassie's relationship with Kid Cudi. She said she felt like she was a protector for Diddy and he didn't have anyone looking out for him without her on the staff. So she basically felt like she was the best person on his staff doing exactly what he wanted her to do, which was to protect his image, make sure that his business runs well, all of the things, right? All of the things. Her testimony goes on. This is still Capricorn Clark, one of Diddy's assistants that we're talking about. Under redirect examination, Clark said the settlement she reached with Diddy after her termination in 2012 required a mutual non-disparagement clause and that Diddy would sign a letter of recommendation for her, but he never did. Clark testified that she couldn't get a job in the industry after that. The judge struck that testimony from the record after sustaining a defense's objection, basically like, hey, look, that's doing too much. You're speculating. That can be proven true or false. Clark said that she continued to look for work through 2015, but wasn't able to find anything in the industry, and that she was blacklisted, to which the judge sustained the defense objection to her response. So, but the thing about it is it already got out there. The jury already heard it. now whether they believe she was blacklisted or if that's going to be an important part a month from now when this trial is scheduled to be over. I don't know, right? She said that she was blacklisted. Unable to find steady work in the entertainment industry, Clark started consulting, and she testified saying, at this level of business, he took all the power as it relates to me. She still put more out there that he was controlling her career. So although the defense objected to certain things and got those stricken from the record, she still was able to throw some shade. Like, I basically do not have a career because Diddy blackballed me, blacklisted me, or whatever you want to call it. So let's go on with her talking about her position with Diddy and how I can see how the prosecution is trying to tie this into the conspiracy part of things, the racketeering part of things. Because remember, when we're talking about the racketeering, that is going to be the charge with most of the years that he's going to be facing. They are accusing him of doing 13 things under this conspiracy. They only have to prove 2 of them. And I think that they're doing a pretty good job of proving the sex trafficking and the prostitution, like we've been talking about for the past couple of days. Now, I'm a little bit more like, yeah, they proved the prostitution over the sex trafficking, because that could get a little bit, the waters are a little bit muddy on that one for me. But this, bringing these assistants in and trying to establish the racketeering, we're going to talk about that after I finish up her testimony and before we jump into the police investigation. Y'all, if y'all are here live, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. It does help us out in the algorithm, and maybe we'll get more friends watching us live, or at least watching on the replay. So let's go ahead and jump into the rest of Clark's testimony from day 10 of Diddy's trial. So Clark said Diddy took her to Central Park with his security guard and brought up her former employment with Death Row Records, telling her he didn't know that she had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to unalive her, adding she could have been more transparent about her employment and her background. Now, one thing that we have to remember in all of this testimony is that Diddy had beef with Suge Knight. This is the second assistant that has come up and testified about beef with Suge Knight, kind of putting them in a dangerous situation. So the fact that she worked for Suge Knight or Death Row Records, she's now being threatened to be unalived. And then there was the other assistant who saw Suge Knight at the restaurant, and then now they're driving with Diddy got 3 guns in his lap, allegedly, is what he testified to. So putting them in this dangerous situation because Diddy has this beef with Suge Knight. So just wanted to remind y'all of that. And this is just her kind of talking about the threats and things that were going on with her while she was employed with Diddy. So threatening to unalive her because she worked for someone in the past. And then she talks about this lie detector test where she said she was tasked with holding diamond jewelry on loan for Diddy, which I think that's so funny that celebrities rent out jewelry, but whatever, to each their own. I wonder how much it costs to rent it out, but they get in a lot of trouble for not returning things that they're renting. So I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but I think it's funny every time I see it. Anyways, she held it for Diddy. She was accused of stealing it. She testified saying she realized the bag she was holding with the jewelry inside went missing before they got to the airport to travel from New York to Miami. I think this happened to another assistant. It's like they're setting them up. Like his was with cash though. They're like setting them up to see what they do. Are they actually stealing stuff? All the things. I feel like it's a setup at this point, or an intimidation method to get them to do the lie detector test. So let me see, where was I at? Combs went on to Miami and left Clark in New York with a security guard, picked her up from her home and left her in a locked vacant office space with another man who administered a lie detector test. Clark testified she was taken to the same vacant office building for questioning with a lie detector for 5 days straight. The man told Clark at the time if she failed the test, they're going to throw her into the East River. So this is the second threat on her life. What is wrong with him? Adding that she didn't want to comply and felt petrified, but felt the lie detector was the only way to prove her innocence. After 5 days of testing, Clark was allowed to go back to work. So bullied her into taking this lie detector test. I think it's like a mind trick thing because, they did it to the other assistant, the guy assistant, but I think that one was for money, if I remember correctly, saying that he stole something that he was supposed to be keeping an eye on. Why do things always go missing when the assistant is carrying them? And then why is after you're putting them through a lie detector situation? And in her situation, 5 days basically grilling her over this thing that she doesn't know where it went, right? And I wonder where it is at this moment. And now that I'm talking about it, how celebrities are always losing these things that they're renting. Let me not do air quotes. Losing these things that they're renting. Is it a fraud? Like, are they losing it on purpose? I don't know. Y'all know, thoughts just come to my brain as I'm on here talking on the internet. I don't know, but it kind of seems like it's something a little fishy going on there. Okay, so let's keep going. Clark told a chef in the summer of 2006 that she hated her employment. The chef then told Combs, or Diddy, who confronted Clark, pushing her and demanding her to get out of his house. Clark said Combs pushed her about 30 yards using about 75% of his force. Eventually, one of Combs' security guards intervened by telling Combs to stop and telling Clark to go pack her belongings. Clark testified she left her job after this incident because it was crossing her boundary. She later returned to work for Diddy as a director of marketing for Sean John's women line, but not directly under Diddy because she didn't want that close proximity in her personal orbit like that. So she got out of there and then went back. And then she's saying that he ended up blacklisting her. So I'm almost wondering if she wished that she never went back, because she almost escaped this nightmare in 2006, but she decided to come back, and then she left again, and then she decided to come back. So I mean, I guess being in the entertainment industry is hard to find consistent jobs. So I guess I can understand why she kept going back. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Okay. Keep going. She says in 2011, she began to manage Cassie as her creative director, saying that she had final approval over everything, including Cassie's physical appearance and every opportunity she could or couldn't take. Clark Ventura and Kid Cudi, who would sometimes hang out. Combs, Diddy, for the first time showed up at Clark's home in Los Angeles in 2011 with a gun, visibly furious, questioning why she didn't tell Combs about the relationship between Kid Cudi and Cassie. She testified. Combs demanded Clark go with him, saying, "Get dressed, we're going to unalive Kid Cudi." When she tried to object, Diddy said, "I don't give a F what you want to do, go get dressed." And the two left for Kid Cudi's home. The gun remained in Combs' lap on the drive while the security guard drove them to Kid Cudi's home. Diddy got out with the security guard and entered the home while Clark stayed in the car and called Ventura on a burner phone to tell her about Diddy's plan and warn Kid Cudi he shouldn't confront Diddy. So that was her testimony. And so why I think that this is trying to get into did she not testify about the fire thing? No, I don't think she did. If y'all been keeping up with this, let me know, because I didn't get that in my notes. So I guess she didn't testify about the fire thing, because they're trying to blame like a woman's DNA on the fire thing, which we'll get into in a minute. Anyways, we'll get into that. And I got so sidetracked. So the reason why I think that they're trying to use the assistant's testimony to get into, okay, there was this criminal enterprise, because these assistants are doing things for Diddy under the guise of his label. So remember, racketeering, you have to have an organization that is basically in a conspiracy to commit crimes. But in this particular case, what I haven't seen established is that there was an organization, right? What I hear so far, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong or if you think something differently, what I hear so far is Diddy, an individual, is bullying people and maybe misusing his business funds to do so. When we're talking about these assistants doing stuff for them, they also sound like victims. So it's not necessarily that they're a part of the criminal enterprise, right? They are also they are also victims. They are also being threatened. They are also being intimidated. They are also being under the lie detector test and being threatened and pushed and hit and things of that nature. So I don't think you could say, oh, well, this was a criminal organization because these people work for him and they put baby oil in his hotel room. Well, they're his assistants, so they're supposed to do those kind of things for him now. Or should they be buying drugs? Absolutely not. But I don't think they have the criminal intent to be considered a part of the criminal organization. And I know there was some testimony coming out about how like HR is kind of Diddy's little rough dog, but we're not at HR yet. The assistants are important to show like, yes, he liked the drugs. Yes, he liked the baby oil and the lube and all of the things, the guns in the lap. That seems like a common theme for all of the assistants so far. He likes to ride in the car with a gun in his lap to intimidate everyone, but it's not quite meeting the organization for me because they are also victims. They are also the victim. So y'all let me know if that has come to your mind or whether you think the same or whether you think I'm completely wrong about that. And again, we have at least 4 more weeks of testimony coming up. So on both sides, right? So maybe we will get a little bit more information from the people that did have this criminal intent. But again, for me, I don't know if we'll ever be able to get to the criminal intent, even with the other people working for them, working for him, because like if Diddy says fire them, and you work for HR, you're going to fire them because Diddy is your boss. When you're talking about him beating people up, they're not like, yeah, we got to beat her up so that we can stay the top record label in the world. Because I mean, he wasn't beating French Montana up. He wasn't beating everyone else up. That wasn't like they're like, okay, don't mess with Diddy's crew because then he'll beat you up. It was like the people that were working for him, his assistants, not always good, a bad employer for sure he is. But assistants kind of get stepped on by their bosses. Subordinates kind of get stepped on by their bosses. Now, does that give them the right to beat them up? No. Same thing with the girlfriends. They're in this relationship with them. What benefit, would bad boy have the whole organization in itself? What benefit would they have by him beating up Cassie, by him beating up Mia, by him beating up everybody on the street, because it sounds like he likes to beat people up? I don't see the benefit that an organization would do. As an individual, yes, he's breaking laws. And I think that's why they charge him separately for the prostitution and the sex trafficking, because they may not be able to establish that organization for the RICO. And y'all gotta give me props because I've completely changed my mind. At first I said, I don't think they're gonna get Diddy. Now I'm like, I think they're gonna get him. Well, I said I think they're only gonna get him on the sex trafficking, but I do think that they're going to get him probably on the prostitution as well. No, I've always said the prostitution, not the sex trafficking. I don't know about the sex trafficking because they're not necessarily crossing state lines, but there was at least one escort that did say that he would fly around with them. So maybe on the sex trafficking on that one with Cassie. But yeah, I think I lost my train of thought. But y'all see where I'm going with this? Y'all see what I'm saying? I don't know if we've established the organization in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and take a pause. We're going to jump and see what the comments have to say so far, because I know we got some people in the live stream watching and giving us some opinions. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and drop your opinions down in the chat over on YouTube. We're going to read them, and then we're going to jump into the next witnesses. And y'all, we are heading into day 11 of the testimony. That was all of day 10. It was all Capricorn Clark. And so next we'll be going into day 11. So let's just see who is here. We got Mean telling y'all that I was going to be a little bit late. So thank y'all for still joining. I know I'm a little late. And I know some of y'all are on the East Coast. So I appreciate y'all for staying up late for me. We got Deonte, a member and moderator of the channel. Welcome back, saying hey or hi, boss attorney Bree in chat. Hello and welcome back. Nice to have you in tonight. We got Justice Jane saying good evening, Bree. Hello and welcome in. Nice to have you tonight. We got Jazzy G saying hey, Bree in chat. Hello, welcome back. Nice to have you. Justice Jane saying DNA number 5. I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, was that from the testimony from the police or whatever? I don't remember. Match your birthdays for happiness. Oh, hello. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Saying hi, Bree. Hello and welcome back. We got Justice Jane saying Bree in chat. Hello, hello. And we got Deacon Fatal saying hello to Justice Jane and everyone else in the chat. Jazzy G saying, was she jealous? As far as Capricorn Clark, she said no, she wasn't jealous. It sounded like some hater statements. I will be honest with you. It did sound like some hater statements in my opinion, but y'all let me know what you'll think. Deacon Fatal says a 10-album contract always sounds off to me. And it seemed like they were doing that a lot around that time. Like that, it doesn't sound off to me right now because it happened to so many young artists. It was just a common thing back then. Dangerous but common, right? Deacon Fatal says he comes off like a very good manipulator in my opinion. That's what it is. I mean, he has money, he has power, he has control, he has fame. It's easy to manipulate people when you got all the money and all the fame and you can make people's lives change. Yes, that's very easy to manipulate people. Crystal Harris says live in the Hive. Hello and welcome back. We are live in the Hive. I got Deacon Fatal saying hi to Crystal. Deacon Fatal, member of the channel, dropping 5 Boss Attorney Bree memberships. Thank you very much. I definitely appreciate it. Do we got to have? Oh, there we go. Round of applause. Thank you, Deacon Fatal. Definitely appreciate the support. And welcome to everyone that have become a member thanks to Deacon Fatal. Deacon Fatal says, oh yeah, that did happen. I don't remember exactly what I was talking about then. Jazzy G thanking Deacon Fatal. Deacon Fatal said, I had not heard about that. Deacon Fatal says, no worries to Jazzy G. Cheryl C, welcome back. Member and moderator of the channel saying, thank you for the gift. I was just listening and didn't even see it come through. Well, welcome back and welcome back to the membership. Insert funny name. Love the name saying, I'm just here to support. Well, we're happy to have you here. Thank you for the support. Deacon Fatal has been a member of the channel for 35 months. Oh my gosh, thank you very much. That is a long time. That's almost 3 years. Have I been streaming for 3 years? I guess so, on and off, right? Oh, thank you. Well, congratulations for being a member for 35 months. Definitely appreciate that. And she says, a long year, made a 97.2 on the last class. This trial is bonkers to me, or this trial is bonkers to me. And yes, defendant Combs is a bully in my honest opinion. I definitely agree. Congratulations. Are you almost done with school? Congratulations. I'm happy. You're like always killing it in your classes. So I'm happy for you on that. Diddy is a bully, in my opinion, and he gets away with it. And I think the prosecutors are trying to make it a point that he no longer gets away with it, right? Because we want him off the streets. The question is, are they going to be able to get him off the streets for life? I don't know. Deacon Fatal says, I was lucky enough to avoid talking about this case during the last class. Were people talking about it? I think the case is interesting. I think it's hard to keep up with it because of all the reading. And that's why I was late today trying to get these notes together to make sure things make sense. And I don't even know if it all the way makes sense, okay? Deacon Fatal says, I hope so, LOL. I think that they'll be able to get him off the streets for a little bit of time. I don't know about life, though. I'm not convinced on the life, though. And if you are, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. And I didn't see any comments coming through on TikTok, but I could just be like super, super late. But welcome into the people on TikTok as well. So let's go ahead and jump over to the next witnesses. Oh, actually, I skipped a whole part of her. So actually, no, we're not jumping over to the next witness yet. Let me read this part and then we'll jump over to the next day and the next witness. So Clark testified that she met Diddy's attorneys just last year and discussed the possibility of working with him again. So there may be a little bit of bias there because she may still be trying to please Diddy, right? And not tell all his dirt because maybe if he doesn't go to jail for a life, then she can have a job again. That's being Bree. Don't laugh. Okay. While Clark was on the stand under cross-examination, Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilio, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm pretty sure I added a bunch of extra syllables in his name. Asked her to confirm if she told the lawyers at the April 2024 meeting that Diddy wouldn't be in this mess if he had kept her around. Basically, like, this is what you get, Diddy. I could have made all of this go away for you. Probably not the best thing to say, sis. And she acknowledged that she probably said something like that. And they discussed the possibility of her returning to work for him as the chief of staff. Isn't that a lovely promise while he's facing a criminal trial, right? Because remember, they raided his home in March of 2024. And she's meeting with Diddy trying to get a job in April of 2024 and said, hey, look, if you would have kept me around, we would have never got caught. That's wild. That's wild. She testified that she told him she wanted her life back. Girl. Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? But that was her testimony. That was the end of her testimony. She didn't admit to throwing no fire in the car. Guess they couldn't go down that talking point, but that's where we are on that. Okay, now we can jump into day 11, talking about Christopher Ignacio, a Los Angeles police officer. And his testimony was pretty quick, or I don't know if it was pretty quick because I was not there. But as far as my notes for him, it's pretty quick because it really wasn't anything. Nothing really happened, okay? So Ignacio responded to Kid Cudi's home the December 2011 morning Combs allegedly broke in. Ignacio and his partner responded to a radio call of a possible burglary at the home and testified that he noticed a black Escalade parked outside of Kid Cudi's home. The SUV took off up the hill as the marked police vehicle with lights and sirens on pulled up behind it. Ignacio testified that he didn't pursue the Escalade because there wasn't a crime at that point. So the inference here is that black Escalade had Diddy and his goons in it, right? But we don't really know if Diddy and his goons was in there because the police didn't pull them over. They didn't question them. They didn't follow them. So we don't know who was in that black Escalade. For all we know, it could have been a loving family just stopped in front of Kid Cudi's house, if we believe that. Anyways, go on. When Ignacio went inside, the door was unlocked. No one was home, but a number of high-value items like watches and purses were in plain sight, some wrapped and some unwrapped. Remember, this is around Christmas time, and Kid Cudi said that the presents were all thrown around his house, and I don't know if he said some things were stolen or not. But yeah, so they destroyed the house, Diddy, allegedly, right? And then Ignacio testified that Kid Cudi was real flustered, but didn't report a gun being involved or that any property was stolen from the home. He said he didn't remember if anyone told him a gun was involved in the incident at Kid Cudi's home, but he confirmed that he didn't reference a gun in his report. So, a whole bunch of nothing. He made a report saying he think Diddy broke into his house. But he doesn't know because he didn't see Diddy at his house. So the police can't really do anything but have a report. And that's it. Tie it together, prosecution. I thought Capricorn Clark was going to tie it together, but she didn't. She didn't, okay? And so that was the end of his testimony. That was the most important things that I got out of his testimony. Let me know if I missed anything, because reading 3 days worth of trial is a lot. Let's go ahead and jump into the next testimony. We got Lance Jimenez, a Los Angeles Fire Department arson investigator. He is investigating the fire that Diddy is being accused of starting. And remember, arson is one of the things that Diddy is being accused of under the racketeering element of this case. Now, again, we have to prove the criminal enterprise, which they're saying is Bad Boy record label. Okay. So even if, what's her name? Capricorn Clark, participated in the Mazel Tov, right? She herself is a victim of Diddy, who has been threatened multiple times that he would kill her if she does not do her job. And he also didn't pay her a lot of money. So I don't think we can get the criminal intent to get the enterprise together. The driver driving him around, Diddy got a gun in his lap. I mean, come on. I don't know if we can get there. Y'all let me know. The racketeering, I was a little bit more convinced on the racketeering previously before I started the stream. And now I'm like, no. Okay, let's see. Jimenez is the fire investigator. He testified he responded to Kid Cudi's home in January 2012 to investigate a fire set to the rapper's Porsche. Jimenez said that the Porsche was parked closely to the garage and he observed a cut in the canvas, the rooftop, with burn patterns throughout the seats, the center console, the interior roofing, and some of the carpet. Jimenez testified that he believed that someone targeted the Porsche, noting that it was, or Porsche, it's a Porsche. I think it's the Porsche. Porsche noting it was not easily visible from the street in an affluent neighborhood with low crime activity, and another car parked in the driveway at the time was not harmed. So they only messed with the Porsche because it was basically easy to get into. It had one of those soft tops. They were able to cut it open. They were able to drop the Mazel Tov in, and they set the thing on fire. Now, y'all, I have a picture of the car. And I have to say, I was pretty disappointed with the damage. Like, I'm glad nobody got hurt. Okay, I am glad that no one got hurt. But when people told me that Diddy blew Kid Cudi's car up, I expected the car to look like it was blown up. Even the way that they talked about it on the stand with Kid Cudi, he blew my car up. He set it on fire. Da, da, da. I thought the damage was going to be extensive, and I'm kind of giving it away. I'm gonna show it to y'all because I was disappointed, and I want to know if y'all were disappointed by it or not. Okay, so where were we at? They didn't harm the other car. And while Jimenez said there was severe damage to the Porsche, it wasn't nearly the kind of catastrophic damage he normally sees from a fully operational Molotov. Did I call it what did I call it earlier? A Molotov cocktail. I called it a Mazel Tov. What is a Mazel Tov? Girl, what are you talking about? Molotov cocktail. So it didn't cause as much damage as he would normally see these kind of things cause. He says there was a bottle on the front seat and there was like a handkerchief on the center console that was burned, Jimenez said, adding that he also saw a disposable lighter outside of the car a couple of feet from the driver's side. The bottle, cloth, and lighter were tested for DNA, but only the bottle returned results, confirming that the partial DNA profile was consistent with a female contributor came from the bottle, but said he didn't know exactly what that meant. Earlier, Jimenez testified that he does not have any expertise in DNA testing or analysis. The Los Angeles fire arson investigator testified that after calling Capricorn Clark several times, her brother answered the phone and told the investigator to leave her alone. Jimenez says he got into an argument with Clark's brother, who said she wanted nothing to do with me, nothing to do with the investigation. Jimenez said that he made contact with Cassie Ventura's father, who was also a fireman. The father told Jimenez that he will let her know. So he wasn't able to get in contact with Cassie or Clark to basically give their testimony about what has been happening. So are y'all ready to see this damage? And I'm sorry for the people on TikTok, you're not going to be able to see it because I'm screen sharing, or I'm going to screen share on YouTube to show what the picture looked like. And I can't do that on TikTok, or at least I don't know how to do it on TikTok. Okay. So here we are. Let's go ahead. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this damage. All right. Let's add it to the sage, Bri. And I'm going to make it bigger for y'all, just in case you can't see it. If I know how to make things bigger. Can I make it bigger? Okay. Here we go. This is the damage, y'all. Here's a little hole in the ceiling. They told me that he blew the car up. And then there's like some little burn marks on the seats. Okay? So some good leather, because the seats did not get that damage. I'm sorry that the picture is a little bit dark, but it looks like it's pretty visible on YouTube. So this is the damage, y'all. I was very disappointed. When they told me they blew his car up, I expected like a bomb to go off. Like I said, I'm happy that no one got hurt. I am happy that no one got hurt. But this is not a blown up car. This is over exaggerated, okay? And that's why I understand why they characterize it as arson, because it's a fire. It was a fire. And luckily it looked like it was put out pretty easy and it didn't really cause, Look, I'm saying it didn't cause a lot of damage in my opinion, but I also don't own a Porsche. Okay? I don't own one. So I don't know how much something like that would cost to get fixed, but still. And you know what? I used to always want a drop top growing up. And my dad would say, no, with soft top, people break into those easy. People do that. Why don't celebrities take advice from their dads? Or, I mean, I guess from my dad. Because I was always told I couldn't get that kind of car because it's easy for people to break into. And it looks like that's what they did here. They broke into it. Oh, man, y'all. So that was a testimony of the fire investigator and the police officer. So I don't know if you guys are more satisfied with their testimony than I am, but I'm not. And I kind of felt like this was going to be it last week when I heard Kid Cudi's testimony. I thought he was going to say, well, he saw him running from his house and whatever. No, they made a report based on Kid Cudi thinking that Diddy did it. And then they came and they investigated a fire and they think that Diddy did it, but they didn't investigate anyone. They didn't follow the escalade. We don't know who was in there. It could have been a granny that likes to start Molotov fires. I don't know. It probably wasn't a granny. It probably was Diddy's team, but we don't know that. We still don't know that, okay? Even after the girl testified that he drove her over there to his house in a car. She didn't testify about the fire stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments. But the very disappointing testimony, nonetheless. That is my point. That is the point I wanted to get to. So let's see what the BriHive chats have to say, and then we'll jump into the testimony of the stylist. Or no, we'll jump into a mistrial motion. We already have a mistrial motion. That's fun. What did I say last, or was that 2 weeks ago? They're going to try to get this dismissed on a mistrial. I said it for different reasons, but they are. He's guilty of some things, right? He is guilty of some things. They're going to try to get this dismissed on a mistrial. Okay. So let's see. We got Deacon Fatal saying last class was criminal adjudication and the case is low hanging fruit. Yeah, it is. I think it's just harder to keep up with because everything is in writing. Nobody wants to pay attention to it like that. Like, I don't even see a lot of the lawyers that typically cover legal type stuff talking about this right now because the Karen Reed trial is going on. And it is a lot to keep up with all of this goddamn reading. Okay. It's a lot. Deacon Fatal says another thing that might mess up this case is all of the AI videos I'm seeing about it. That mess needs to stop. I haven't seen any AI videos about this. I really haven't seen anything about this on my timeline. Like not on TikTok, not on YouTube. Like I'm not seeing anything. I have to go and find this stuff. Okay. And thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Definitely appreciate it. You are blessing the stream. I definitely appreciate it. Deacon Fatal says it does show intent for something. Yes, it does show some type. I don't know if we can get to intent because I know in law school they teach you can't really be forced to do something. Even if they're holding a gun to your head, you still have free will. You still have a choice. You still have a choice to react. You can either be shot in the head with a gun to your head, or you can do the thing that the person is telling you. But also there's an argument for duress here. Like if I don't go here with him, he's going to throw me in. He's already told her that he's going to throw her in the river, or we don't know what else threats he's made to other people. So I don't know. I don't think you can get to intent here with the duress. They have the argument of duress. Like this was not a criminal meeting of the minds. This was Diddy flying off a handle and the people around him who are also victims having to participate or else, right? That's not how racketeering works. Like racketeering is like, oh, Diddy is the big boss. I am going to do these things so that I will make more money for the big boss. And then we win. Blowing up Cuddy's car is not making Diddy no money. Beating Cassie up is not making Diddy no money. I can't see how you can put, like, is he hiding behind the veil of Bad Boy? Sure, by paying for these hotels and doing freak off. Sure, he's hiding behind the veil. But is it him? And are we piercing a corporate veil? Or are there multiple people involved in this? Like, I don't see what the executives will get out of making sure that he gets to have his freak off, right? You have to have more than one person for the racketeering. It can't just be Diddy Diddy is an individual, right? It has to be someone else that's working with him to be like, yeah, we're going to be the biggest prostitution ring in the world. But honestly, it doesn't seem like he's creating a prostitution ring. I mean, I guess other than with the girlfriends that he has, it just sounds like he's consuming the prostitutes. He's calling prostitutes so that he can enjoy them. He's not really selling them, if that makes sense. And like inviting his friends in. Like it's hard to say without being, insensitive about it. He's the one participating in the prostitution, basically, is my point. And not really, he's not, you can argue that maybe he's like a pimp to Cassie, but he's not like recruiting these people and then pimping them all around the world. The people that he is taking advantage of sexually, it sounds like it's his girlfriends, the people that are in relationships with him versus the actual prostitutes. That is their job, whether Diddy was hiring them or not. So I think that's where the line gets a little muddy on the prostitution. I mean, sex trafficking. I think that's where it gets a little muddy there. Thank you, Deonte and Fatal, for coming in, blessing the chat, and hopefully you get some good rest. Definitely appreciate you. Yeah. I don't know if I just talked in circles or if that made any sense. Y'all let me know. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the next thing, which is the motion for the mistrial. The defense is already trying to get this thing kicked out of here, which, I mean, do we understand why? Diddy is guilty of some things. Now, is he guilty of the things they're accusing him of? I don't know. I guess the next 4 weeks will tell us, right? So we got a motion for mistrial for the defense. The defense moved for a mistrial, claiming the prosecutor claiming prosecutorial. How can I not say that today? The prosecutors were doing misconduct, okay? Citing the LAFD arson investigator, Los Angeles Fire Department arson investigator Lance Jimenez testimony that fingerprint evidence was taken from Kid Cudi's home after the December 11 trespassing incident, and that fingerprint was destroyed. Defense attorney Mark Agnafilo, I think that's right, said that the prosecution's implication within that questioning was outrageous. Prosecutor Christy Slavic said a mistrial was absolutely unwarranted. Judge Arun Subramanian, I hope I'm saying that right, denied the mistrial motion and instructed the jury that the questions regarding the destruction of the fingerprint cards and the answers given are irrelevant to the case, and that this defendant and it's irrelevant to the case and the defendant and are not to be considered by you. But again, it's already been put out there to them. I always find that interesting when they say, don't consider that. I already heard it. I can't unhear it. And I'm not a lawyer. Well, I am a lawyer, but if I was on the jury, I'm not a lawyer. So I might still consider it, okay? It's already out there. And so essentially what was happening there is the prosecutors were going down a line of questioning about, oh, didn't you guys collect fingerprints? And there were fingerprints there. Oh, and then what happened to those fingerprints? And somebody destroyed them. And he basically said that in order for that evidence to be destroyed, he would have had to sign off on it. And he didn't sign off on it, basically insinuating that Diddy and someone from Diddy's team probably snuck in there and had it deleted, or maybe he paid somebody off to delete it. I mean, i.e. like how he paid the people off at the hotel to try to get rid of that video that resurfaced of him beating up Cassie in the hotel. Maybe similar to that, but yeah. So there was some insinuation, but with no evidence that Diddy somehow contributed to those fingerprint cards going missing. And as we know, if there were fingerprint cards, it probably could have proved that maybe Diddy was there. But again, we don't have the hardcore evidence. So the speculation, it's going to maybe muddy the beyond a reasonable doubt, but it doesn't prove that he did it beyond a reasonable doubt, speculating that maybe he hired someone. Okay, so that was the mistrial. They got shut down as they've been getting shut down. Now they've gotten a couple things stricken from the record. That's true. They got that stricken from the record. But the jury already heard it. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump on to Deonte Nash, who was a stylist for the couple, Cassie and Diddy, okay? So Deonte Nash was the third witness to take the stand on day what was this, day 11? I forgot to announce that we were on day 11. When we got to day 11, that was the police and the fire investigator. And now we are on the last witness of day 11, who spills into day 12, which was today. So he is the third witness to take the stand and said he was testifying under a subpoena and did not want to be there. Nash testified that he started working for Combs and Ventura or Cassie around 2008, starting as an intern and later becoming a stylist. Nash testified that on multiple occasions he heard Diddy tell Cassie that he would beat her bleep. Oh, where's my bleeper? That he would beat her. Okay, it bleeps for YouTube, but not for TikTok. So here we are. Anyways, he would beat her. Ventura or Cassie would be super emotional after these incidents, he said. Other threats include not releasing Cassie's music or threatening to get her parents fired from their jobs. The stylist also testified that all photos of Cassie's outfits needed to be sent to Diddy for approval. So remember, she said he controlled everything that she wore and everything that she did. Multiple other witnesses said that. And then we had goddamn Capricorn Clark coming up and said, well, no, actually, like when I picked her hair, she loved it. She loved the neon yellow hair. Girl, get out of here. Everybody said that this girl was under coercive control, and you the only one out here saying she wasn't. Okay. So far, because I'm sure Diddy's going to pull some witnesses that are going to have his back. I wouldn't touch Diddy with a 10-foot pole, even if he was my cousin in this trial. Okay. There's so much stuff already filed up against him. Anyways, let's keep going. Nash testified about witnessing Diddy make threats about Cassie's music career and threats about releasing sexual videos, explicit video. Let's just go with explicit videos of Cassie, sending them to her parents' employers. He recalled 2 incidences where the stylist witnessed Diddy be violent towards Cassie. In one instance, Diddy hit and kicked Cassie until she hit her head and started bleeding. Diddy panicked after seeing the blood, and Nash testified that Diddy was aggressive towards him personally, popping me in the back of the head and grabbing me by the shirt for one instance. In another incident during 2013 at a music video shoot, Diddy threw him on a parked car. Now, Deonte Nash seems like a pretty big person, and maybe he was smaller back then, but he's talking about that Diddy then threw him on a car, which a man throwing another man is already outrageous, but that man didn't seem like a small man. But whatever, did he be on that juice apparently where he can throw people? And I'm sure it maybe was like a push, right? After we saw the blew up car, I don't know if I can really believe everything, but maybe he pushed him onto the car, right? Nash testified that he saw bruises on Cassie's body quite often, adding that he didn't report the violence he witnessed in fear that he would be retaliated against. I mean, like, Diddy is already slapping him in the back of the head, right? And Diddy is already, attacking him. Why would he not think that he's going to lose his job and everything if he reports what's going on with Cassie? I mean, but is a check more important than your friend's safety? I mean, no. It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But y'all let me know. Let's see. We got more things happening from Deonte Nash. He said on one occasion that Diddy searched his home looking for Cassie, leaving no stone unturned. He even looked in the oven. Now, why would she be in? He said, I don't know why he looked in the oven. Like, why would she be in the oven? Can a person her size really fit in the oven? Maybe she could. But hopefully she wouldn't be in there, right? The home search resulted in Diddy forcing Deonte to take him to where Cassie was, who was in a nearby hotel. When he left the hotel, he noticed a car following him. Nash said he feared his home wasn't safe and stayed elsewhere for the night. When he returned, some of his personal belongings were stolen. So now he is accusing Diddy of stealing stuff from his house. Allegedly. Or maybe it was just Diddy's goons, his alleged goons, right? So he's bullying him. He's beating him up. He's dang near beating him up to take him to where Cassie is. It's a lot going on, right? And so again, we're getting into this controlling behavior. We're getting into this abuse, but we're not getting into where bad boy comes into play. Okay? This is not piercing the corporate veil. You can't pierce your corporate veil into a racketeering case, right? there needs to be other people planning this with Diddy, okay? And people not telling because they're fearful of Diddy beating them up they're not a part of the crime at that point. I mean, technically they are, right? He took him to Diddy, and Diddy probably beat Cassie up after that. But I wouldn't say that was, I'm gonna take you to where she is. You beat her up and you pay me some extra money. Like, nobody's testifying to something like that, right? Okay. So Nash testified that Cassie would go to hotels with Diddy about weekly, saying he would often see her pack a black duffel bag with sex toys in those for those stays. Nash said that Cassie told him she didn't want to go, but she did because Diddy wanted her to. Again, remember, they're trying to say that Cassie did everything free of her free will, right? Nash recalled one of those instances in particular, Ventura's Cassie's 29th birthday, when Diddy and Ventura argued, and Ventura told him Combs was mad because she didn't want to go to the hotel and the freak off with him. Nash, who testified that he smokes marijuana, said that he had seen Cassie take drugs, including Molly and ecstasy, at times inside of her home. Like, we all already know that has been a big part of the case. Them talking about how much drugs they are always taking, right? Okay. And so with that, we're going to spill into day 3 to finish up Deonte's, Deonte, I don't know how he says his name. We're going to finish up his testimony with day 3, and then we're going to jump into the testimony of Mia, the long-awaited testimony of Mia, okay? The assistant / kind of girlfriend that he was also essaying and beating up. Okay. So let's finish up Deonte Nash. We are now in day 12, which was from today. Deonte Nash, he took the stand again on cross-examination, and he testified about his understanding of Cassie and Diddy's relationship, a time where Cassie was upset Diddy's relationship with other women hurt her own career, that despite being close to friends, Cassie didn't tell Nash or Deonte that Diddy had videos of her with other men. During cross-examination, the defense said that Nash's testimony on the stand didn't match, that he told prosecutors before trial. Nash has testified several times he didn't expand on many things with the prosecutors during pretrial interviews and never wanted to be involved with this case. Okay? And so essentially, Nash explained that although they were close friends, Cassie never told him about the freak offs, that she was engaging with other men. And basically him saying that they're close friends, they're basically like, oh, you're contradicting yourself. You say you're these close friends, but at the same time, you don't know what's actually going on with her. So the prosecutors asked questions. It sounds like maybe, although he was testifying for the prosecution because they subpoenaed him, it kind of sounds like maybe he was a hostile witness on the stand. So that's what I got from my review of everything that's been going on. But y'all let me know what y'all think. We do have a lovely super chat from Dragon Nerd 2. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate the super chat. I'm trying to find my applause. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the $20 super chat. Yay. Okay. And then you say, I appreciate the breakdowns. I don't see Rico proving yet, but Diddy's lawyers are well paid and will do anything to help their client. Take a drink for every mistrial request. Oh, yeah. No, they're absolutely going to continue to ask for mistrial. Why wouldn't you? You might get lucky or you might annoy the judge. I don't know which one is it going to be. You're going to annoy the judge or are you going to get lucky? We don't know. But yeah, I'm not seeing the RICO. And the main thing that I'm not seeing on the RICO is that there's another person. So far, everyone that's testified, although they have worked for Diddy, they were also victims. Okay. They are not voluntarily, in my opinion, they're not voluntarily doing it freely. Like if they had a choice, they wouldn't do it, which is demonstrated by a lot of them quitting and leaving right after they're seeing this happen. They want to report it, they can't report it, and they leave. Other than Capricorn Clark, it sounds like she just kept getting fired. I don't think she would have left if she wasn't forced out. So maybe we can say that she is a part of the criminal enterprise, but at the same time, she was under threats as well. So I don't know what y'all think about Capricorn Clark. She kind of seemed complicit, but also was working for a check and also was threatened. So she is kind of a little on the fence for me as far as if I think that she was involved or not, right? Y'all let me know what you think. Thank you so much again for the super chat. We're going to go ahead and jump into Mia's testimony. This is long-awaited testimony that we've been waiting on. The girl that was another assistant of Diddy's. I think this is what, our fifth assistant? Fourth assistant that we're coming across on this trial to kind of give us a deeper look into what Diddy was really doing, right? What we know now about Astroglide because of the witnesses, okay? We know about Astroglide. We know about the baby oil. We know there's baby oil handprints on it. Well, that was actually, I think Mia is the one that testifies to that because I read that today. Baby oil everywhere. You got hotel staff upset whenever Diddy comes into town, okay? So we know about all the freaking stuff. But let's get into more of his issues with SA. Because now we're not just talking about, here we go with this TikTok trying to make me fit the puzzle piece again. Oh, I did it the first time this time. Hey, okay. Now we're not just talking about Cassie accusing him of SA and beatings and trafficking and things of that nature. Now we got Mia corroborating this as well. Just like with the escorts, we had an escort corroborate that they were being taken around to do these freak offs kind of thing, that Cassie was being forced into it. So let's go ahead and talk about Mia, which is an anonymous name. We don't know the true identity. Unless you were in court or in the spillover room, you don't know what she looks like. You don't know who she is. But she did, let's get into it. I think I have that in my notes. So boom, where we at? Okay, so before the jury arrived, the judge denied a request from prosecutors to cut the video feed to the overflow room for the duration of Mia's testimony to protect Mia's I can never say this word, I feel like Finding Nemo when I can't say. Make sure she says anonymous, okay? And then I can never say it. Okay, so but the judge said anyone in the overflow room would be in the main courtroom if there was sufficient space, so the video feed will stay on. A photo of Mia's passport bearing her true name and her date of birth was submitted into evidence under seal for only the jury to view. So they knew who she was so that they can basically confirm she did actually work. She's not just some random lady saying, oh, Diddy did these things to me, and Diddy has no freaking clue who she is, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Mia testified that she worked for Diddy in two roles, a personal assistant and a director of development and acquisition for Revolt Films. I didn't know he had a freaking film production crew. Anyways, describing the work environment with Diddy as chaotic and toxic. During her first 24 hours on the job, Mia testified that she didn't sleep, which turned out to be her new normal. Mia testified that at one point she was his only personal assistant for about a year, and it was difficult. And we know just on the testimony that has come out from the very many assistants so far, he played no games, okay? If you are not going to sleep, you're not going to sleep. He probably needs more than one assistant. And he was paying people pennies, okay? I think, who did I read? I think Capricorn Clark was only paid like $50,000 a year. What are we talking about? $50,000 a month dealing with you. Crazy. Okay, so she was the only assistant and he was just basically taking advantage of her, right? Mia testified about several ways in which Diddy was violent with her. He's thrown things at me. He's thrown me against walls. He's thrown me into a pool. He's thrown an ice bucket at my head. Mia added, Diddy also SA'd her on more than one occasion, which we'll get into that a little bit. The jury saw a list of Mia shared. The jury saw a list Mia shared with another employee in 2011, outlining her job responsibilities, written after Diddy, who she referred to as PD, made a threatening comment questioning what she did all day. Some of the list items include maintaining P. Diddy's, or she put PD's, P. Diddy's daily routine in both professional and private circles, from the minute he wakes up in the morning into the moment he falls asleep at night, and anticipating his needs, whims, and moods. Because, you know, it sounds like he flies off the railings at no point, like at the drop of a dime. How do you throw an ice bucket at somebody's head and throw them in the pool? Was this all one occasion? Like, what is going on? Mia said she did get in trouble if he left. Mia said she'd get in trouble if Diddy left Diddy's home without his, or if she left, sorry, y'all, my notes are all over the place. If she left Diddy's home without his permission. So let me actually pull up the rest of the list because I thought I had that copy and pasted, but it looks like I didn't. Where did it go? Let's see here. What was the list of the things that she had to do? Because it's like, what do you do all day? Deal with your crazy self. What do you mean, what do I do all day? Okay, where is this list at? I know I saw it. Okay. Let me see. Control, find, list. Okay, let's see if I can find the list. I can't find it. I had it, but I can't find it. If I find it, I'll let y'all know. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so she did the list, and then it goes on. Mia testified that she saw Cassie Ventura and Diddy together all the time when she was working, describing their relationship as unequal and toxic and a cycle of highs and lows, adding that Combs was abusive towards towards Cassie. Mia testified that Diddy was in charge of Cassie's music career and always made the final decision as it pertains to how she wore her hair, how her nails look, outfits, what music she released, when she'd be in the studio, visual aspect of music videos, her appearance in any shows or appearances she'd be involved in. Mia said she was privy to a lot of the going on in Combs' label business because people would contact her to get answers from Diddy. Basically establishing that she's competent to testify on these things because she was in the mix. Okay. She was the assistant. She was in the mix. She knew what was happening. Okay. Combs dictated how much time and when Mia could spend with Cassie, who she described as a sister and a best friend. So she got pretty close to Cassie. The former assistant testified, usually it was motivated by Diddy's desire to keep tabs on Cassie. When she did something without Diddy's permission, Mia said something bad, very scary would happen. Punishment was typically unpredictable, but typically pretty terrifying. She added at times that Diddy took away her car, which he and his companies paid for, or her jewelry. If Cassie wouldn't answer her phone calls from Diddy, security would show up. So I thought that she was testifying that he was taking her car, but no, he was taking Cassie's car and basically intimidating her jewelry, just being controlling is what it sounds like. So again, basically corroborating what Cassie said on the stand while also adding herself as another victim in the situation. The former assistant said that Mia said that Diddy attacked Cassie, threw her on the ground, chased her, and cracked her head open, and never saw Cassie fight back. Mia described one instance where she felt like Ventura's stylist, celebrity Deonte, Nash, who testified earlier, were in real danger based on Diddy's violent behavior towards the three of them. So remember, Deonte said that he never told because he was in fear of retaliation. Like he said, he threw him on a car. I'm gonna say push because he was a big man, and I just don't see Diddy picking nobody up and throwing them. I mean, maybe Cassie because Cassie was real small, but he was attacking all of them, right? So when we talk about why didn't anyone say anything until now they kind of have the protection of the court. Now, how far the court's protection extends, if Diddy really does the things that they say he do, like the intimidation tactics, the threatening to unalive people, being capable of unaliving people, I don't know how much they'll be protected, but it sounds like he was beating up everybody. Okay. He was beating up everybody. Okay. Let's see. She describes, Mia testifies that she witnessed violence from Diddy towards Cassie more than once on a 2012 trip to Turks and Caicos. In one instance, Mia was woken up to Cassie running and screaming into the room. She was screaming for help and saying, "You got to help me. He's going to kill me." They basically tried to barricade themselves to the room to hide from Diddy, and he got in and he still beat her up. Constantly. Okay. Mia believed that Diddy's authority was above the police. She testified, adding that she believed this that she believed that at this time, years and years before social media or Me Too or any sort of example where someone had stood up successfully to someone in power, such as him. Mia was constantly stressed. What is it? Mia testified that Diddy was constantly stressed confidentiality, that he constantly stressed the confidentiality, and she was taught to believe that the violence she witnessed fell under the requirement of loyalty she had to Combs's business. So she didn't tell because she didn't want to get in trouble for not being loyal to Diddy's business. Mia said she witnessed bruises on Cassie's bodies, fat lips, busted eyebrows, a gash on her forehead, and black eyes. The jury was shown a photo of Mia, the photo that Mia took of Cassie at the premiere of The Perfect Match. Mia testified that Cassie had bruising on her arm and under her eye that was covered by makeup. In 2012, Mia testified that during the Cannes Film Festival, Cassie had a busted lip and other injuries, and Mia saw Diddy digging his nails into Ventura's arm when Cassie's injuries were too obvious to cover up. When Cassie's injuries were too obvious to cover up, she would stay in hotels, only leaving when she healed enough to cover up. And we saw that in Cassie's original lawsuit, and then we saw it in her testimony as well. Mia testified that she would set up hotel rooms for Diddy, unpacking toiletries, including, as we know, lotion, baby oil, lubricant, Astro Gel. Okay. Well, is it called Astro Gel? I think I forgot the name already. And remained on call in case Diddy needed anything. Before housekeeping went into the hotel stays, Mia was tasked with cleaning up the room, describing the state of them as a nightmare with baby oil, candle wax, and sometimes blood left behind. Mia testified, sorry y'all for that face is nasty. Mia testified that there were times she was with Cassie before hotel stays, but one time stands out in her memory when Cassie seemed visibly upset to oblige Diddy's request for a hotel stay and develop a stomach issue because of it. So basically she was testifying that Cassie didn't want to stay in the hotel with Diddy, and as she was preparing to stay in the hotel with Diddy, she basically started to get an upset stomach and basically started to show physical signs of pain, although no one's actually doing anything to her. So her emotions are so heightened that it's starting to affect her physically, is what she basically described. So she knew whatever was going on in these hotel rooms, although she wasn't necessarily in them. She knew it was bad because Cassie was reacting bad. Mia testified that sometimes Diddy treated her like a best friend or a working partner, and other times treated her like a worthless piece of crap, and at times would humiliate her in front of others, threaten her job, and throw things at her, and she felt terrified and embarrassed when Diddy was violent with her. Mia spoke about a time where Diddy slammed a bathroom door on her arm multiple times after he took off with her phone and threatened to use anything incriminating he found on the device against her. The jury saw emails Mia sent to other staff members after the incident. So basically she was telling people who she worked with, like, he beat me up, right? With her voice dropping to a near whisper, Mia testified that Diddy SA'd her multiple times while she worked for him. Mia said Ventura was not present when the assaults happened, or that at the time that they occurred, and she never told her about them. I mean, you're talking about you're her best friend and her sister, and although he's SAing you, if she found out about it, she would probably feel like you're sleeping with her man too. Like, he sleeps with everybody. I know she's saying it's SA, but I don't see how you would not tell your best friend that their man is harming them. Like, what was the other girl name? Kelly, what was her name? Carrie Morgan, whatever her name was. As soon as she saw that mess, she got up out of there. You got to get up out of there. But for her not to tell her friend, like, I definitely understand being scared, but I don't know. I feel like that's something you need to tell. She needed to tell her. Let's see, where was it at? Mia said that Cassie wasn't present. The first instance was in New York at Diddy's 40th birthday. Mia testified. Another instance, Mia, and at the 40th birthday, she said that she was in some room. Diddy came in and like pushed her up against the wall and started kissing her. And I can't remember if they actually had intercourse that time. I think they did, or that he did to her. And then she says another instance Mia described on the stand was at Combs' Los Angeles home. Mia described 2 other incidents where she testified that Combs R-worded her at his home in Los Angeles. She testified that she never initiated sexual contact with Diddy and told him she never said that she wanted to have sex with him. And so she said one of the times in his home, she was sleeping and then she was awakened by him being on her. And a lot of people have made the comment that it never lasted long. And I don't know if people are like trying to show shade or throw shade, or maybe he's like, for lack of a better word, sexually incompetent. And that's why he has to do all these freak offs to still feel powerful sexually, because he doesn't really last that long. And maybe he's not really working with what he tries to put out to the world. He's not working with BDE, if y'all know what that means. Yeah, he might just be inadequate down there. And that's why he's forcing all these people into these sexual activities, because he can't really do them himself. And multiple people have insinuated this, and I kind of believe them. Y'all let me know. Okay, so she goes on to say that the SAs were always sporadic and didn't follow a pattern, and happened when Combs didn't have a girlfriend around. She said her dynamic with Diddy was one with no boundaries. She also said she didn't feel like she could tell Diddy no, and testified that she was afraid that she would become a target if she did. He would fire me and ruin my future and somehow twist the story into making me look like a threat. Mia said she also testified that she was always afraid of being physically harmed by Combs she was also afraid of being physically harmed by Combs if she ever told him no about anything, not just sex. So he's just an aggressive man all around, is basically what we're getting from Mia. Mia testified that she didn't think reporting the times she said Diddy SA'd her to the police was an option. Mia said she based that partly on previous interactions she had with police officers. I didn't know that you had to tell the bad things that happened to you if no one else saw. She said, adding, it's the most shameful thing of my life. She said, absolutely did not want to be talking about SA, but said she felt she had a more obligation to share these experiences. It's the most traumatizing, the worst thing that's ever happened to me, she said. And she basically said with her staying quiet, it made it possible for it to happen to more people. So now she is basically standing up and telling her story, so hopefully she can protect more people. She also testified about not telling the police because, if no one else saw it, who's going to believe me? And so now she's finally having this voice to, okay, people actually believe me now because Cassie is corroborating what I'm saying, and I'm corroborating what Cassie's saying. And then we have all of these other people involved that are also corroborating the things that are happening to these people that get involved with Diddy. And so that is all that I have on her testimony. So y'all definitely let me know what you think about the trial so far. I'm trying to do these recaps a couple of days at a time, because your girl don't be having time to jump on live stream every single day to talk about this and also keep up with the reading on everything. So I'm going to jump into some comments, see what's going on. I'm actually preparing for like 3 court dates for myself in the next 3 to 4 days. Like it's literally for the next 3 days, literally Friday, work days, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, I have court, like pretty intense court. So even being able to jump on here tonight was a little bit of a struggle. That's why I was late. So let me know what y'all think about what's going on with the case. Like I said, I find it hard that we're going to get to Rico out of this. Just like Dragon Nerd 2 said, I think it's hard that we're going to get to Rico out of this because I'm not seeing the Enterprise. And again, maybe they're going to bring it later, but are they getting to the punch, taking too long to get to the punch? Like, would we rather have them convinced in the beginning, the jury convinced in the beginning, or do we want to kind of wait more towards the end when Diddy's going to come right behind us and muddy everything you said? Or even like, if we've been here for 3 weeks, if the jury is bored, right? Are we listening anymore? We've seen it happen with other trials that we covered on the channel. I can't think of one right now off the top of my head, but is the jury bored, right? And I don't know what the energy is in the courtroom because clearly I'm here at home and I'm not in Diddy court, which I want it to be. But, people got to pay their bills and they got to have a job. Unless YouTube paid me to be. So here we are. So I don't know what the energy is like in the courtroom, but with me reading it, I could just be bored because I'm reading it. But I don't know if the jury is getting bored here. Like, okay, we've heard this story over and over, and we got a lot of people coming in and saying what Cassie said, which I'm surprised they're not objecting to the hearsay. Cassie was already on the stand. Why do we have to hear what Cassie said to you? You know? I guess they're proving state of mind, the Cassie state of mind. But either way it goes, Cassie already testified. We got her story. Everyone else is still coming to corroborate what happened to Cassie while adding a little bit of nuggets of their own. Like, oh yeah, he also beat me up. They're still really corroborating Cassie's story while also arguing this case is not about Cassie. She's not the only witness. She's not the only victim. It kind of feels that way. And I'm wondering if the jury is getting like, okay, well, let's move on at some point, right? Rachel Mills says, have we gotten to the gross part of the tampon? No. I don't think I read that part. Was that in Mia's testimony? I didn't notice that part. Rachel says, shame. Rachel said, it's horribly shameful to be R-worded. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad she is finally speaking out and like even taking that time to realize like the fact that I didn't say nothing allowed this to happen to other women. And we got to stop it at some point, right? Rachel Mills says, to me, there was this sick story about Mia having to keep a full tampon in her when Diddy refused to let her go to the bathroom to change it. It was shameful. I don't think I read that. I'm using like certain sources to get my information. Did she testify to that, or was that just somebody saying that? Because I did not see that in any of the sources I reviewed. Okay, let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Excuse me. Or if I was just scrolling too fast, reading too fast. I think I would have noticed that though. Yeah, no, the source I reviewed did not talk about that. So was that in there or no? That's kind of bad. That's bad. Rachel says reporters say they are engaged. Who? Oh, the jury is engaged. Okay, good. That's good then. Rachel says, yes, a lawyer reporting from Courtroom talked about it. Well, my source did not. So sorry I didn't get that information for y'all. But let's see. Maybe I don't have the best source. I thought it was the most organized source. Okay, so I found another source that told us about it. So let's see what it says. Okay, so it says that Mia told the court that she once had blood dripping down her leg because Diddy wouldn't let her go to the bathroom to change her tampon. Instead, Diddy wanted her to go get IHOP for a group of people. He then threw a bowl of spaghetti at her. Mia said she felt terrified, so humiliated, and so confused when he threw things at her and thought something was wrong with me for making him upset. Diddy chased her out of the house, so she left barefoot, hid in a bush, and eventually escaped to a hotel. She told HR told her that she would be suspended without pay as a result of the incident. That's crazy. Are you serious? He kicked her out because she had a full tampon? Does he not know about toxic shock syndrome? She could die from that. What's wrong with him? No, I did not see that. So thank you for pointing that out, Rachel Mills. I did not see that. My source sucks. So maybe I need to find a different source, y'all. I need to find a different source. It's just a lot to even try to keep up with everything. So having like a nice summary is what I'm trying to keep it with. And then just kind of reading and keeping up with everything. And most of the articles do tell you about the same incidences. I don't know how they missed that one. Because everything else I'm seeing on this source is saying everything that was on the other one. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for giving us that information on that one. So overall, y'all, It's still going on. The case is still going on. I don't know how this is going to end. I do think, like I said, I think the prostitution is pretty much there. Which one of the RICO charges do include the prostitution? So if they can prove the organization, then I do think that he goes to jail on RICO. He needs to. The sex trafficking, I think he's on that line, at least with one of the witnesses. He's on that line, or he probably is guilty on that line. And remember, these allegations have to be within the last 10 years. So some of the things that they're telling us about is way beyond the last 10 years. So we're going to have to get some more information of some more recent things for him to qualify for the RICO charges, right? So certain things like the sex trafficking and the prostitution, I think they may be successful on RICO for that if they can establish the criminal organization. Same thing with the arson. If they can establish the criminal organization, but Diddy just being a dick and flying off the rails and bullying his employees into helping him, that's not RICO. Like, you have to actively want to be engaged in that, and actively wanting to have employment with being an assistant is not the same as actively wanting to, beat people up, right? And blow people's cars up and things of that nature. So let's see. Rachel Mills says they expect it to wrap up at the end of June, I think, or something. Yeah, so they're aiming to have it done before the 4th of July weekend, but the defense is thinking that it's going to go at least to the 4th of July weekend, that their rebuttal, because I said this at the beginning of the stream, I don't think that the defense was prepared for all the information that the prosecution witnesses were going to come with. So I think that's very interesting for them to say, oh, well, we thought we had this in the bag, but now that y'all done said all of this, we need more witnesses, we need more rebuttal, we need to address everything that you guys are bringing up. So although they had the witness list, I don't think they were prepared to what these witnesses knew and what they were willing to get on the stand and say. So there's that. But anyways, y'all, I've been on here for almost an hour and a half. Thank you, everyone that have joined me live. Thank you, everyone who has hit the like button. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you, everybody on TikTok that stayed for the longevity of the stream, although you weren't able to see the car picture that I showed. I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I was going to say a 3-day weekend, but it's not a 3-day weekend. We had that last week, which didn't feel long enough. But I will see y'all all on the next live stream. And let me know what y'all think in the comments if you didn't get to drop it in the chat. All right.